Should Jalen Hurts be in the MVP conversation? Well, let's take a look. Currently, he sits at number 12 in yards. He's number 6 in completion percentage, 10th in passing touchdowns, and he leads quarterbacks in rushing touchdowns. Of all the starting quarterbacks that have played every single game, he's the only one with only one interception. Currently, he's 8th in QBR and 6th in passer rating. He's also the only quarterback at this point in the season with a perfect passer rating in a game. And if we look at all the quarterbacks with better odds at this point, of the ones that he's played, he's already beaten. And Matthew Stafford, Baker Mayfield, Patrick Mahomes, and Dak Prescott. He still has to play Josh Allen, Jared Goff, Dak Prescott again, Jordan Love, and Justin Herbert. And that's exactly what I want to talk about. So the Eagles have the Giants this Sunday, followed up with a bye week next week. And then coming out of the bye week, they have 5 straight games in primetime situations against top tier or very good teams. And that starts off Monday night in Green Bay, followed up with Detroit on a Sunday night, and then the following week in Dallas, 425, America's Game of the Week, followed up with a Black Friday game against Chicago, and then the last game of that 5-game stretch is the Chargers in Los Angeles on a Monday night. So if the Eagles come out, and I would venture to say if they're able to win 4 of those games, predominantly because of Jalen Hurts in the passing game, I don't think anybody's going to be able to deny Jalen Hurts being in the discussion, but especially if they beat all 5 of those teams. So you beat Green Bay in Green Bay against Jordan Love, who right now is a higher favorite for MVP than Jalen Hurts. Then you play Detroit, and if you beat Detroit, Jared Goff is another person who's higher up on the odds for MVP. And then you go to Dallas and beat Dak Prescott and put him back in his place for the second time this season in his house. Followed up with Chicago. I think that Los Angeles game can be a key game for an argument for Jalen because we're gearing towards the end of the season at that point. And then you're playing another MVP candidate in Justin Herbert. And then you follow that up with the last 4 games of the season. You have the Raiders, which can be a good stat padding game. You know what Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes love to do. And then you have a Buffalo sandwich right between 2 Washington games. Now, I'm a firm believer. I think Washington will be completely irrelevant by that point in time. I don't think they'll be fighting for the playoffs. I think they'll be eliminated by that time. But then you have Buffalo in the middle, and that game is in Buffalo. So I think if all the things happen with those 5 games coming out of the bye week, and like I said, if they win 4 of those 5 games, I think he still has a pretty good chance, especially if one of those ends up being the Chargers game to end that stretch. And if a lot of those wins are because of the passing game, which it should be by looking at this team at this point in time, I think Jalen will have the traction. You go into Buffalo, and if they end up beating the reigning MVP in Buffalo, I don't see how Jalen couldn't be the favorite at that point in time. And let's not forget, the last time the Eagles beat Buffalo, it was when they were 10-1 in 2023. That was the 10th game they won. Jalen was the favorite for MVP at that point in time after beating Buffalo. And that was a very Jalen-heavy game. He had that walk-off touchdown on a QB draw. So I think if they can replicate that, do that against Josh Allen in his house, second to last game of the season, I think he could put a staple in the conversation, and he could really be the favorite, especially if they do all the things that I said in that 5-game stretch coming out of the bye week, and then they do what they got to do against Washington. And let's just say this, if Jalen ends up being the favorite for MVP, that's going to make a whole lot of people mad, and I'm here for it.